Okay, got a quick video about how to store an engine after it's been rebuilt. Specifically, I've got a 1960 Corvette 283 that has been rebuilt, and the car actually has a crate motor in it, and there's no sense in putting the original 283 into the Corvette while the 350 is working good and running great. So how do you protect your investment? Well, I'll show you. We just rebuilt it. It's still on the engine stand after the assembly process, and I'm just going to kind of go through and document what it actually is. It's a GM block, casting number 3756519, date code B180. So that is February 18th of 1960. Some of the things that are not exactly correct that would need to be changed if it was going to be judged is those plugs need to be a hex head, not a recessed Allen. Obviously it has painted spark plugs, those would need to be changed, and so on and so forth. Now when you're storing an engine, you want to leave it sealed up as much as you possibly can. And also, if you notice, I left myself a note, or whoever, that the valves are loose. It has a solid lifter cam in it, and I've purposely left all these loose. They have assembly lube on all of the important parts, and the camshaft has been completely coated with assembly lube as well as the lifters. Now, you want to leave this stuff loose so that the valve springs aren't putting a lot of pressure on the lifters and the cams if it's just going to sit there. That just creates kind of a load point on the cam, and that's not good for the cam. So I left myself a note that I need to adjust those valves. Now let's go on to the cylinder head casting. So we have it documented. Probably can't see it, but that's a 3774692, date code C100. So March 10th, 1960 on one cylinder head. And let's check the other one. Same casting number, 3774692. And the date code on this one is a C150. So again, it's 1960. So this is a mated pair, an untouched. B block, C heads, that's very typical. I painted over all the broach marks, but it's been a untouched VIN number stamped into it, F0, so on and so forth. It's all good to go. Now, I masked everything off and then painted it, and I'm leaving the masking on it. Because like I said, you want to have this engine sealed up as much as possible. Okay, I've got the 283 bolted down to the engine stand. There's a couple other things that I want to go over before it actually gets buttoned up. So, first thing, a lot of times these engines, they just go and they sit around and do nothing, and people forget about them, okay? Estates get liquidated and you have no idea what it is. So any engine that I do, what I do is I create a little cheat sheet. Basically just gives you the engine rebuild summary. It says that this is a 1960 Corvette, 283, 270 horse dual quad, VIN number, so on and so forth. Then I go on to tell them what I did to it. I rebuild it to factory specs except for an 098 solid lifter cam, 9.5:1 compression, Molly rings, Clevite bearings, bearing clearances are so on and so forth, new rod bolts, balanced rotating assembly, high volume, standard pressure oil pump, kind of give them the description. Then I go on and say that the date codes for this engine can be found with the other documentation. It has not been decked. It still has the factory broach marks, VIN derivative, and VIN number stamped into the VIN pad. Machine work was done by Tabor's Automotive Machine in Vancouver, Washington, and it was assembled by me. It was also assembled with Isky Revlo. So anyway, quick little summary of what was done to it. I'm going to put it in a UPS shipping envelope like this. UPS will actually give you these for free. And then I'm going to stick it directly to the valley of the engine. No one will be able to miss it. Okay, now we've got our documentation covered. Next thing, we need to protect this engine while it is in storage. And a great way to do that is with good old-fashioned charcoal briquettes. Probably about a dozen or so charcoal briquettes in this paper bag, wadded up. Set a piece of cardboard on the valley so that the weight of this doesn't mess up my tape, and set it right there. Then take your first layer. Get all the ends good to go, like so. Grab some tie wrap, zip ties, tie them up, so on and so forth. Okay, first layer is done. Engine is completely sealed in the first bag. Now, second level. Grab some Irish Spring. Leave it in the box, because it doesn't need to be open, and just set the Irish Spring in there. And you guys are going, what the hell are you putting Irish Spring in there for? Well, okay, this scent will deter rodents, mice, rats, whatever, from coming into your nice, freshly stored, rebuilt Corvette engine and building a nest. So put a bar of Irish Spring. Probably ought to change this every couple years. Essentially, if you open up the bag and you can still smell Irish Spring, you're good to go. So, Irish Spring. Then take your other layers, wrap them up, seal it up, shove it under your bench, and forget about it.